Okay, well the first step is to see how much coffee I'm using in each batch. Now my batch is a pint, so 16 ounces, whatever. How much coffee am I using to do that? So this is an almost empty can, and this is a brand new can, and so what I'm going to do is figure out how much I'm using for each batch. Okay, let's see if I can do this with just one hand. Okay, brand new coffee. Now, of course, your mileage may differ because you may not be interested in chock full of nuts coffee. It's obviously not the expensive brand. This one can right here costs $11. If you buy more expensive coffee, of course, it's going to be more expensive overall. Typically, I use a 1/4 cup of coffee grounds. Level quarter cup. Okay. Okay, so here's 16 ounces, half a liter, and I'll continue to measure to see how much volume I have. The cans give a weight of 48 ounces, but it doesn't give a volume. Okay, pouring the last in. This is the 7th load. So this is 14 cups. 14 cups of coffee ground. Okay, so the next thing is the coffee filter. You can buy 600 of these coffee filters for $4.29. So that's about 0.7 cents for one of these things. So don't ever feel bad about throwing one of these away, because they cost less than a cent. Okay, so we'll dig into my coffee here. Nice level scoop. It's always a little hard when the can is brand new not to make a disaster, but okay, that's pretty close. All right, dump that in. Okay, so I'm going to put the coffee filter in the machine now. I can't do this with one hand, so I'm going to stop the video. The next thing, of course, is the water. And I have this philosophy of never let an old piece of a coffee maker go to waste, so I use an old coffee maker to measure. I put in just a little bit more than 4 cups of water because the grounds themselves will absorb some of the water. So the question is, how much did that water cost? And it turns out that we spend 3 cents per gallon. So you do the math and you can figure out how much the water was. Now, it's not just the water to fill up the machine. There's also later, when we're cleaning up the machine, rinsing it out or whatever, there's also some water there. Okay, so we'll start the machine. The next step for me, being a non-purist about coffee drinking, I use Coffee Mate. I don't use half and half or cream or milk, and heavens, I don't drink it black. I noticed quite a while ago that I was replacing one container of Coffee Mate every time I replaced a container of coffee. This is 50, whereas the coffee tin is 48 ounces. It's 48 ounces. So in terms of volume, these are the same, and I'm using them at the same rate. I'm going through one of these cans at the same rate that I'm going through one of these containers, so I assume that my usage is the same, and it really is true. What I do is I scoop out 2 heaping scoops of Coffee Mate. Okay, I scoop out 2 heaping scoops, tablespoon scoops. Well, I'm doing this left-handed because I'm holding a video camera, but usually they're heaping better than this. Okay, I'm going to scoop out 3 non-heaping scoops, but take my word for it, 2 heaping tablespoons, and that turns out to be 1/4 of a cup. So that makes sense why I'm using the creamer at the same rate as the coffee. Okay, next up is sugar. I take 1 scoop of sugar, and I'll spare you the long discussion about how I figured this out. It's raw sugar, they call it. It's basically, there's still molasses in it. Turbinado sugar is sometimes what it's called. 1 scoop. And out of a bag that costs, I think, $8.50, I get 240 scoops. And we're waiting for the coffee to finish brewing. When you know your coffee maker, you know all of its sounds, and it's currently making the kind of sound when it's running out of water. Alright, we'll have a look. And now we're done with the machine until tomorrow morning. And here we have our freshly brewed coffee. So the question is, how much did this coffee cost on an incremental basis? Now keep in mind, this is our kitchen. This is not a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't include infrastructure. I don't include employee salaries and benefits. Just the raw cost of the materials that are used. Okay, so how much does it cost to make 16 ounces of home brewed coffee? Well, we start with a Mr. Coffee style brewing machine, and I use it for about 10 years. It costs maybe $30 to buy for the machine. Use it 3,000 times, and it works out to about 1 cent. The coffee itself, a 1/4 cup, you divide that out, and it's about 20.4 cents, something like that. The creamer, another 1/4 cup of creamer, that's almost 11 cents. And then the sugar, about a 1/2 tablespoon of sugar, and that works out to 2.2 cents. What about coffee filter? They're practically free. You buy 600 of these things. They cost a little more than $4. It's less than 1 penny each. The water for the coffee itself and the cleanup afterwards, that's about less than 1/2 cent. And last but not least, something I didn't talk about before, the electricity. We use approximately 2 cents of electricity. So the total is 37.8 cents, give or take. Reasonably, maybe 35 to 40 cents for your home brewed cup of coffee from your Mr. Coffee machine, the way I do it. Anyhow, thought you might be interested in that.